Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would now like to make a presentation of my study which was carried out about assessing and proposing a resident city in the region of La Loire in Mauritius. During the last few years, we have seen that residence in Mauritius has become an increasingly important issue due to the various social environmental challenges faced by the country, by the island, due to climate change, resource scarcity, social inequality, and vulnerability to natural disasters, as we can see from these images. While urban planning in Mauritius has evolved to address some of these issues, many communities remain highly vulnerable to these hazards and stresses. There is a growing recognition that improving urban resilience is crucial to ensuring the sustainability and well-being of the population. So the main aim of this study is to assess and enhance the urban resilience of La Loire by investigating existing resilience strategies, vulnerabilities, and adaptive capacities in order to provide practical insights into how resilience can be strengthened in urban areas, focusing on key factors such as infrastructure, social networks, policy, and environmental risks. The main objectives of this study are to assess the current state of resilience in this region by evaluating the existing urban resilience strategies and their effectiveness in addressing key stresses. Secondly, to analyze the role of social and community resilience by investigating how community engagement, social networks, and local knowledge contribute to resilience, particularly in disaster preparedness and recovery. And lastly, to provide recommendations for enhancing urban resilience by proposing actionable strategies, including infrastructure improvements, policy adjustments, and community engagement initiatives. So the methodology adopted for this study was to carry out a quality research design, qualitative assessment, to explore resilience challenges and opportunities in that region. So qualitative surveys were carried out with semi-structured interviews in order to capture the community insights, governance challenges, and adaptation strategies. A case study analysis also was adopted, and La Loire was selected as the area which was going to be studied due to its unique combination of development challenges and vulnerabilities, making it an important case study for assessing resilience in urban planning. Located in the district of Muka, the village is undergoing rapid urbanization with increasing demand for housing and infrastructure. However, this growth is accompanied by significant challenges, including unauthorized constructions, inadequate infrastructure, and environmental degradation, which pose risks to long-term sustainability. So, as you can see from this map, La Loire is situated in the center of Mauritius, and this is our study area, mostly agricultural zone. The data collection was carried out through a qualitative survey, and it was aimed at gaining in-depth insights into the perceptions, experiences, and concerns of the people and the community of La Loire regarding resilience and urban development. The qualitative approach was suited specially because it allows the exploring of the social, cultural, and emotional factors that influenced people's understanding of risk, vulnerability, and resilience. Through open-ended questions, the survey allowed participants to provide detailed responses that reflected their unique perspectives, enabling the study to capture the nuances of the challenges they faced. The survey was designed with a mix of open-ended and semi-structured questions to ensure that participants had the opportunity to express their views fully while keeping their responses focused on the key themes, and the, they covered topics such as awareness of flood risk and vulnerability, perceptions of current infrastructure and resilience strategies, community level adaptation and coping mechanisms, opinions on flood mitigation and future planning initiatives. The main findings of this study was the concept of resilience in La Laura was widely understood by the community, and they have been able to withstand and recover from environmental shocks, particularly flooding, while maintaining social and economic stability. Many interviewees highlighted that resilience is not only about infrastructure but also about community engagement, governance, and preparedness strategies. Regarding key environmental and social challenges, it was observed that flooding was consistently identified as the most significant environmental challenge in La Loire, affecting homes, roads, and agricultural land. Here it was also pointed out that drainage systems were either inadequate, poorly maintained, or non existent in certain areas, leading to frequent water flooding. Many participants emphasized that existing flood mitigation measures are insufficient and that more proactive solutions are needed. They pointed out that stormwater drains are not adequately maintained, leading to blockages that exacerbate flooding. Regarding the role of governance and policy in resilience, many participants expressed concern about the role of governance in building resilience, particularly in relation to policy enforcement, interagency coordination, and disaster preparedness measures. Several interviews mentioned that while policies exist, their implementation is inconsistent. Another issue that was observed was community engagement and social resilience. Several participants stressed that community engagement is a critical component of resilience, yet government efforts to involve residents in planning processes are limited. This highlights the need for stronger collaboration between authorities and residents, ensuring that resilience strategies reflect local needs and experiences. Another major issue was the future strategies for building resilience. Participants suggested a range of strategies to improve resilience in La Loire, including upgrading stormwater drainage systems to prevent blockages and improve water flow, enforcing stricter zoning regulations to prevent construction in flood-prone areas, developing early warning systems to alert residents of impending floods, promoting green infrastructure such as rain gardens and permeable pavements, and lastly, strengthening community engagement initiatives to involve resilience in resilience planning. After the study was carried out and the findings that were obtained, the following recommendations were made. Firstly, regarding upgrading infrastructure. One of the most pressing issues identified was the inadequacy of the current infrastructure, particularly in the drainage systems. So the following recommendations were made: expansion and modernization of storm water drainage. The existing drainage systems should be upgraded to handle increased water flow with modern designs that incorporate climate resilient considerations. Investment in larger and more efficient drains with regular maintenance will help prevent blockages and ensure the free flow of rainwater. It was also important to integrate green infrastructure solutions such as rain gardens, permeable pavements, and wetlands in order to absorb the excess rainwater. Urban planning and zoning regulations need to be re-evaluated. The implementation of stricter zoning regulations should be enforced to prevent construction in flood-prone areas. This would reduce the risk of damage to both infrastructure and human lives during flooding events. Another main component was the community engagement and awareness. The study revealed that while the community of La Loa is highly resilient in terms of social support networks, there is a gap in public awareness and preparedness for environmental risks, especially flooding. Many residents lack the knowledge of how to adapt to or to mitigate the effects of extreme weather conditions. So it is recommended that public awareness campaigns should be held by the different authorities, especially the local authorities, in order to inform residents about flood risks and how to prepare for them. This could include community workshops, educational programs in schools, and informational materials distributed through local media and community centers. It is also very important to encourage community participation in planning. This participatory approach can help ensure that resilience building efforts are aligned with local needs and experiences. It is also very important to carry out disaster preparedness training in order to prepare the population for disasters. In order to build resilience effectively, it is very important to strengthen the governance and policy that is existing. It is crucial that governance structures are strengthened to support long-term integrated planning. It is very important to have improved coordination between all the different authorities. Local government authorities, agencies, and authorities responsible for urban planning should work more closely together to have a holistic approach and for more collaboration. Actually, it is observed that they are all working in silos, and there is a very important need to establish interagency task forces or committees dedicated to resilience planning. There should also be stronger enforcement of regulations, especially related to flood risk, land use, and construction. It is also very important to have a long-term resilience planning rather than focusing only on post-disaster recovery. So there should be a more comprehensive climate adaptation strategy that accounts for future environmental changes and the anticipated increase in extreme weather events due to climate change. It is also very important to enhance the social resilience in that area. While La Laura benefits from a strong community network, there is a potential to further enhance social resilience by fostering stronger social ties and improving governance mechanisms. This will help the community respond more effectively during times of crisis and reduce vulnerabilities in the long term. So it is very important to foster social networks and to build capacity for local leadership. Investing in local leadership development can help empower community members to take on active roles in resilient building efforts. So we can conclude that the findings of this study underscore the complex nature of resilience and the multifaceted approaches required to strengthen this component in La Laura. From inadequate infrastructure and poor urban planning to the lack of awareness and coordination, several key barriers hinder the community's ability to effectively address the risks posed by flooding and environmental challenges. The, the case study of La Laura also demonstrates significant strength, notably the strong social fabric and community support networks that can be leveraged to enhance resilience. The residents of La Laura possess valuable local knowledge that can contribute to more effective flood mitigation strategies provided that they are integrated in the planning process. Building resilience in La Laura requires a balanced approach that addresses both physical infrastructure and social dynamics. By upgrading infrastructure and promoting community engagement, strengthening governance, and enforcing policies, La Laura can enhance its capacity to withstand environmental shocks and thrive in the face of future challenges. This study contributes valuable insights into how resilience can be fostered in small communities facing rapid urbanization and increasing environmental risks, and this offers a pathway for other similar villages or communities to build their own resilience strategies. And this study can also be extrapolated to other such communities. As climate change continues to exacerbate extreme weather events, it is essential that La Laura, along with other communities in Mauritius, adopts long-term proactive measures that will ensure a more resilient and sustainable future for all its residents, and this will help us promote the SDGs in the ocean context. Thank you very much for your attention.